Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Raw and Wild Hearts podcast. I'm your host and guide, Lori Rising, and welcome to today's episode called How Erica Went from Closing the Door on Her Business Forever to Launching Her One-Woman Show in 3 months. This conversation is juicy, but it's also nurturing. Erica has such a beautiful way with her words, but also with her energy. You can really feel what she's sharing. And my hope for you in this conversation is that you feel what's possible for you too. She gets so vulnerable and she shares the depth of a journey that her and I went through. It's the journey of my 9-week online signature experience called Channel Unlearn the Matrix. And we don't hold back. We're not just sharing the highlights. We're sharing what really offered the deepest spaces of invitation and how she relentlessly showed up for herself. And now the expansion, the results, the on-purpose life that she's leading and living from there. You know, I was just sitting with this before I jumped on for this intro, and I was sitting with how we've really conditioned ourselves into the dream experience, the dream being the intangible in our life, right? We get very conditioned in this. And in that space, we hold the dream outside of our realm, or oftentimes our even realm of possibility. And we get into this habit of an end destination and waiting. And it's like they kind of repel each other, right? We're waiting for an end destination for everything to smooth out, get better, feel balanced, feel safe. Safe. That's a big one, because most of us are living in this survival until the conditions all around us show us that it's all going to be okay. And basically, I'm quoting this, smooth sailing from there. That's what has us in this perpetual waiting loop, and we'll justify where we are and we'll deem anything a failure that's not that end destination. And Erica and I really, we really walk ourselves and you through how to excavate these deep mindset beliefs that hold us back in what's available to us at any given moment. So Erica has described my work as really offering you the space to live the most intentional, on-purpose life yet. And honestly, if you know anything about manifestation, you know that the feeling comes before the reality. So if we are going to step into this space of wholeness, of balance, of an abundance consciousness, no matter where we are from what we thought would be the end destination, then we start making the moves that create the reality that that dream was being held from or in. So what if the dream was pre-coded, meaning it was coded in you before you became fully conscious as a human walking this earth? And the dream got categorized as a maybe or a what if. And the dream is a continual tapping on your soul from the source that knows that you were actually meant to uncover the path of it, rather than justifying the back down from it as an unfolding destiny that you're an empowered part of. So that's just a little bit about what's been arriving for me before I sat down to record with you here. I really hope that you stay through this conversation and that you receive the true frequency and transmission that's coming through. Now, whether you join my 9-week program, Channel Unlearn the Matrix, or not, I hope that this stokes the flame inside of you to go forward and find someone or something that can offer you this kind of real, true, and honest reflection and deliberate inhabitation of your life. This is your one experience. How are you going to roll it out? And to be honest with you, it's go time. The old world is collapsing right now. I'm sure you see it. I'm sure you feel it in your heart. The old you is also collapsing. This is on purpose. It's the astrology, it's the collective, it's the consciousness revolution, evolution that's going down. And I know that you're a leader in this because you're here. You're in my field. And if you're in my field, you know what's possible, even if you still feel scared to go all the way, to open up and welcome the kind of soul medicine that I offer in this world. And your mind is not going to be the ally that you've held it in so far. Your energetic mastery will be how you thrive through this experience. The collapse and the shadow have to happen in order for the biggest change in our reality and humanity to come. I'm here to help you work with energy, frequency, emotional intelligence, and your environment, no matter what is going down around you. This work is not for the faint of heart. Some people will get angrier. Some people will shut down. Some people will disconnect. Some people will even leave the planet. That's not you. You know you came to be the bridge, to be the light leader, to be the way shower. You know you came to disrupt the generational patterns, the conditioning, and the programming for the generations to come. And you get to thrive in this life while doing it. That's what I help you rise in the power of. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome. It's a great episode to dive in with. And if you're a longtime listener, thank you so much for being here. Please hit that subscribe button, share a rating and review if this podcast and this conversation is supporting you. And please, please, please send this to one person that you know will be supported with it too. If you're on YouTube, what up? Nice to see you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, the like button for the video, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I drop something new. It really does take more of you to say that you want this kind of content by interacting with it, engaging with it, and supporting my channel in a very, very noisy online world. So channel is open and it's welcoming those of you who are stepping into your courage, who know there's another way and you're ready to thrive in your mastery while the old world goes down and you seed the new world from here. Please welcome Erica Celeste. Hello, Erica. Welcome to the Wild Heart Revolution.
Hey, it is awesome to be here.
It's such a joy to be in this connection beyond the previous connection, beyond the previous connection, beyond the previous connection. It's like the spiral we just keep dancing through is really beautiful. So I want to say thank you for saying yes to this and sharing your own journey with so many others so that they get to see and feel what's possible for them as well.
Wow, it is absolutely my pleasure. And I've said to you before, and now I want to say to everybody here, like, my wish is for lots and lots of people to hear the call to be in your magic and in your container. And I'm eager to dive into the nitty-gritty of what that experience has been like for me.
I'm receiving that. Thank you so, so much. It just feels really nourishing to my heart and my soul. And honestly, it's the fuel. It's the fuel to the mission. It's the fuel to the soul's contract with humanity. And it's getting into almost the simplicity of it where we can come one to one and share this is so much more important. And I feel this evolution happening for us because we've always been going bigger, harder, like stronger. And it's like the strength happens in these like one-to-one connections that actually does reverberate out in the field. And so I just feel so honored that you said yes to this journey with me. I mean, it really was. It's amazing to me what's happened in just a short few months for so many. And I heard the call when I said yes to channel. I was like, okay, it's channel now. This is where we're going. And then I just jump in without any expectation. And I'm always blown away. And I'm so freaking excited to share both of our journey through channel together in this space because I really do feel like this will transform those that don't even step into the world just by our exchange here because you are absolute fucking magic.
Ow! Oh, that feels so good. What did we say as kids? Like, there was some clever line, like something about how it gets goes back to you, but yeah, it takes one to know one. Thank
I
you.
I love that because what came through for me when you said what do we say as kids was this little t-shirt that I used to wear. It was red. It had like, the iron on that had like sparkles all over it and it said anything girls can do or anything boys can do, girls can do better. Do you know that? It was my favorite.
I love
I still have a little twinge of like, Mom, why did you get rid of that one? Goodness, so good. We can all do it together, right? We can all do it together. Okay, so let me set a little context of where we're going in this beautiful conversation. I just wrapped up, or we just wrapped up, my first round of my signature program. I don't want to call it a program, my signature experience called Channel. And it feels so important to offer that transmission, like I said. And Erica, any of you who know astrology, Erica's Mercury is in Scorpio. Is that okay for me to share?
Absolutely, yes, of course.
And I have such a crush on Mercury and Scorpio now because Erica is so eloquent with her words. She's so intentional. She's so deep, which is the Scorpio energy with how she communicates. And so I'm thrilled for her to offer that vibe for you, that frequency for you in this experience. So we're going to dive into really not just like, oh, the enlightenment, like how things became who I am now through this 3 month journey. We're going to dive into the shadow. We're going to dive into the ebb that actually catapulted us into where Erica is now. So, Erica, before I get going, share with people what is coming through for you right now. Like, what has brought you into your soul medicine? And then maybe even share a little bit about what brought us together.
Mhm. Cool. Um, well, I mean, I think the first thing that's screaming at me that wants to be said is that my journey with what I would call my healership has been so touch and go for many, many years. And a lot of that has had to do with a feeling of insecurity and lack of energy and lack of everything you name it. And after my last round of attempting to put myself out there as any form of like a space holder in any sort of professional way, I deemed it a failure. And then I closed the door on that. I locked it shut. I basically swore to the universe I was never going in that again. And I felt like, the boxer in the ring who's been knocked down and they're just not getting up anymore. So
Mhm.
when we met, energetically, that was where I was at in relation to this side of me, and even in many ways, my artistic side as well. So I was settling for a very kind of banal level of existence, and I got comfortable with that, and I was okay with that.
Oh, y'all, take a breath with that. That's huge for you to name that and allow people to hear you naming that, to feel you naming that. Thank you. Back to you.
Well, and naming it, of course, came through these months of really going through it in channel. And there's something in the way that you use language that allowed me to then very clearly see my patterns and see how I'm living, see my habits and my thoughts and name them. I couldn't speak like this 3, 4 months ago. No way. No way.
Oh, that's incredible. Woo! Keep going.
So, I mean, I have been on a massive, of course, I think like most of us, journey of expansion and transformation and healing. And I've been through programs and I've been through this and that and activations and you name it and all this stuff. And you and I met in the Elevate program. So I was in yet another attempt to figure out how to bring my, now I love the language that Lori has brought into my world, soul medicine and soul business. I wasn't using that language at the time. So the language I was using felt dry and static to me. It didn't light me up. It wasn't a container that felt like a place where I wanted to be. And that was part of why I was kind of stuck. And anyway, I was in this program, Elevate, which was awesome. And Lori was there. And one day towards the end, she offered to present her offer. Your offer was just looked so sparkly and yummy and juicy. And straight away, I recognized a kindred spirit in you. So it was a big, high heart yes for me to connect with you. And so I went into Slay the Struggle, and that was a year, and that was some time ago.
I think it was in the fall. I'm pretty sure it was in the fall.
Yeah. And so I suppose it's important to mention that I live in Israel and we're in a war. And when you and I first met, the war here, as I live in the conflict line, the conflict zone. So we were getting hit pretty hard. And so even in Slay the Struggle, which was just a 3-day thing, I just found a lot of comfort and safety and support and positive upliftment in your energy and in your space for the things that I was coping with then.
We should point out that you went further with yourself there because you invested in the VIP. So we got to be more connected personally in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really where I got to know you and feel that being held. And it was there when I see the visual of it. I'm looking for the word. You like seeded me, we'll just say seeded me with that initial the activation of what you said in the beginning when you just described about like the Mercury and Scorpio and the eloquence of communication, because those are things that I take for granted and don't recognize are anything special. And so when you bring it and when you say it like that, for some reason, I think it's something about your power and your energy. It goes way in and it starts to move my cells in my body, and my neurons, my neural networks start to fire differently. And I start to wake up and see myself more in that light. This is actually something special. This is not just like la-di-da to be taken for granted. This is like a gift or something sacred. And now I can begin to rise into that version of myself, own it in a new way.
Yes, Queen. So I'm getting all the chills, all the yes right now because I remember that day. It's so clear to me when you were speaking about the war and something was coming up. And I remember sitting there. I literally remember how I was sitting and I was like, you just spoke about it so eloquently and you didn't even realize that you were. And I was like, do you know how impactful that is for people to receive that transmission from you? And I believe I brought it up once or twice in channel. I kept telling you to remember that day when we were in Slay the Struggle, because really was a massive seed that got planted. And that's perfect. Seeded is exactly the vibe. And yeah, I just love this so much because we're going back before channel, and this shows the true evolution that happens. Nothing is one and done. And we always want things to just like happen, right? Like immediate gratification. This is how it has to go. But when you can really open up to this full ranging experience, everything starts becoming either the compost to growing those seeds, or it becomes the soil that is not helpful anymore. It's not supportive. And we've got to get out of that. We've got to let that part go. And we have to keep going towards what expands it, right? What really opens us up to the ebb and flow. It's not, I want to be so clear on this, especially Mercury and Scorpio. Scorpio is about the transformation. It's about going into the depth, into the darkness, into like really being comfortable there, because that's where the light will be shown.
Mm.
I'm just going to tell people what happened because I want to be so real. I want to be really authentic here so people don't separate themselves from anyone else, right? Like really feel this experience, because I went through that whole Slay the Struggle, which was incredible. It was a fantastic transmission. And the VIP, you all, that was so beautiful. And at that point, I was so exhausted that I pulled my program. And that was literally the launch for the program. And I had to honor my own
For
channel
channel. That was
for
the launch for.
channel. Yeah. And I had to honor my own channel. That was like, absolutely not. I was just a no. It was like I couldn't summon the energy. And I was like, okay, it's not time right now. And so I allow myself through the channel to do something big and not have it in a place of expectation. So I can pivot, I can change, I can be resilient in that way because I do live from an abundance consciousness. And I know when I follow my channel, there's always going to be something new, some new possibility. And it might be a period of deep dark winter. It might be deep internal contemplation that I've got to really go in to take myself to my next level. And I would have been distracted had I stayed with channel at that point. And so then that's where we're coming now to this channel that just went through the summer. And so we stayed connected from there for you to come in for this channel.
And I'm so happy that you listened to what was right for you because it most definitely would not have been right for me to do channel then when you initially intended it. And I'll just come straight out and say that this program, I try not to use too many like too much exaggerated language because like you said, I'm really specific with my language and my words. I want to be precise. And the way that it wants to come out for me is to say, this is the most amazing, radically transforming experience I've ever had. And I've been checking that in my inner world because those words keep coming up for me. And I go, really? Are you sure? And I look through the catalog, like the checklist of everything that I've done. And I'm sure there must be some other things that have come close or been at the same level. For where I am at in life right now, I could easily come to tears with this because the depth of my gratitude for you and what you've brought into my life and how you've brought me back to life is too full for me to contain. So actually, even now as I speak it, I notice that I'm kind of pushing it away a little bit. But just to say that, like in that metaphor of the boxer who's flat and they're like, come on, get up. And I'm like, fuck you. No, I'm not. I'm done. And that's it. And then Lori Rising comes into my world and she's like, come on now, you can do it. Come on. Yellow, yellow, up, up, up. You got this. You got this. On your feet. There you go. And not only did you set me upright on my feet, but you brought me up. You did. And I said to everyone in the program as we were finishing, I felt like I'm just soaring now, like just flying. And there was that little moment as we were closing the program when I had this concern of like, can I do this on my own without being in the container? And we just closed it like what, a week, 2 weeks ago, something very recent. And lately I've noticed some slippage in the energy and I'm like, where's that container? But then I'm like, no, you got this. You're doing it. You got it. And I hear your voice coming in and reminding me of certain very key component principles that are now walking with me in my heart, in my mind, in my cells, like very much a part of who I am now.
And it's how you move through the world and respond to the world. And that's the beauty of it. It's like you get to, because our mind will go there. Our mind will be like, am I going to be okay? Is it going to stay? Like, can I like keep riding this wave that has shown up for me at this level? And then you get reminded, and you have a fantastic story that reminded you. And I would love to get into it. It's a story about the river, which you just told me before we jumped on this call. And as soon as you started saying that, like, I'm like, yep, here I am, because I had a spot in the river in Oregon that was 45 minutes downhill to get to. It was like my home. And I have went off grid on that spot. So I'm not going to say more because I want you to share this story and how it reminded you that you're on that wave, that you are soaring. that you have this now living in your cell. It's becoming your default. And I think that's going to be really powerful to start. And then we're going to go back and start really uncovering the journey that brought us here.
Awesome. So like I shared with you, I went down to the river, like Lori just said, 45 minutes down, 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 and then this indulgent 6 hours there, and like this, feeling nourished and really alive and enjoy. And then it was getting the end of the day, and had two choices, basically, really only one choice, but I made another choice for myself. I could follow the path back to the path down. I could follow the river back to where the path started. Or I looked up at the side of the cliff, the side of the Vadi, we call it here, and I just said, no, I can just go up. I'll find the path. I'm sure if I go up enough, I'll meet the path somewhere. And I really felt such a yes. And I felt so alive and aligned that it didn't matter that I was, getting so much dirt in my shoes, and I've got all these scratches from the thorns on me. And, it was hard to navigate, and I was out of water already, and it was kind of hot and all this stuff. But I was sure every time I would kind of get over a little precipice, the path was going to be right there, and then it would not be there. And I was not letting my energy go down. I wasn't letting myself be disappointed, because I told myself this is an adventure, and this is for fun, and I chose this. And I'm sure that my story is that I get to that path. And so I just kept going with that energy. And at some point, after climbing for a while, the kind of the precipice, the side wall got more steep, and it was more crumbly, and it was harder to navigate. And I had this sense like there's no path. I'm not going to meet a path. I could keep going, and I'm not going to meet a path. And I had to stop. I stopped right there, sort of hanging in this weird balance moment. And of course, I called out to Earth Mama, Pachamama, to my guides, the spirit team, send me a sign. Where's the path? And it was like this thud. It was like, babe, you're on your own now, right? And so I realized in that moment that I needed to go back, that it was time. And there was this one moment while I was standing there when doubt came in. And in that exact moment, the dirt from under my feet started to crumble, and I started slipping. And I noticed it, and I noticed the doubt, and I said, doubt, there's no doubt coming in. And I pushed it away. I said, that's not my story. I stabilized, my feet stabilized. I gathered myself, and I said, okay, it's okay. It's not a failure. I'm going to go back down the way I came, or find a way to get down. And it's okay. It was fun. I learned something from it. So I started going back down. Navigating the path down was very different than the path up. And somewhere about halfway, I was inspired to stop and take a selfie to post on social media, at least like make it worth something. And as I was doing this, out of the corner of my eye, I see a man walking like a few meters away from me on the path. I mean, your laughter, you can imagine my laughter in that moment. It was so outrageously funny to me. And I didn't tell you this before, but the part of the path that I had met was definitely significantly higher than had I just started at the base and walked up. So it was a success story that seemed like a failure for a moment, but it had a really happy ending.
I love this story so hard because literally if I could bottle up what I desire for those that come through channel, it's this. Because that was your channel speaking to you. And you had that moment of doubt, which was your mind coming in with the limiting beliefs, the what ifs, the fears. And when you came back to your channel and you started being buoyant about it, you started like being joyful about it, and you had this like where you got rid of all the failure, right? And you're like, okay, adventure, here we go. This is it. Then your channel led you to do the things that you did to show you the path that's a few feet away from you. And this reminds me of the gold mining story, right? I'm sure many people have heard it, where the guy that had the tool was mining and mining and mining, and gold wasn't happening. And he was like, I can't, I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm giving up. And then the guy that he sold the tool to went out, was like, I'm going to try this out. 3 feet later, he got gold. He struck gold, right? And so this is where it's like, when you refine your everyday moments and you truly do listen to your channel, which your channel had you stop, your channel had you like reevaluate and shift things. Because if you kept going, the path wasn't going to, as far as I can tell from the story, you weren't going to meet up with the path. And so this is where we've got to be more soft and less overcomplicated, because the channel that I teach is like the realistic channel that we live from. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that teach, like, oh, this is how you channel sessions, and these are all the things. It's like, how do we live in our everyday moments? How do we refine our everyday moments? Because your channel is speaking to you all the freaking time. And we've just gotten so separated from it. So this is such a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful completion of the circle. And I'm really happy that you brought it in. And I'm not laughing as hard as I laughed the first time. The first time I laughed so hard when she was like, out of the corner of my eye, there's a guy that's just sauntering along. Isn't that what life should be about? Like fun like that, no matter what adventure we're taking. Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning of channel. And I want to talk about a couple of things, because you showed up. Not everybody showed up. Not everybody took the adventure of the full channel. That's the thing with life. It's a choose your own adventure. Whether you invested in something or not, you get to choose it. And you get to choose how much of you put into it. And for you, there were times where you were wavering. There were times where you wanted out. There were definitely these times that came up. And for anyone who went all in, they all went through those times. How do we hold ourselves through them? And this is why I will say this forever and always. When you begin investing in the environments that hold you through those wavers and those wobbles, then you get to the ascension. Then you get to the enlightenment. Then you move to that next octave in your life, because we're always on the spiral going up, and you don't come so far back down, because then you live it, you experience it, you are it. And our environment is everything. And we've changed the environment so drastically for so long. So, we start off with a bang in any of my containers, and we start off with a cleanse. And there were only probably a few of you that did the full cleanse. And so I remember what you said, because you are very aligned with health. And you were like, this is like nothing for me. Like, I do cleanses all the time. I actually kind of stopped them because I was doing them so much. So you're like, it'll be interesting to revisit this. So I would love to hear from you, because I know that this hit differently for you. And there's so many reasons that I bring this in. As I tell everyone in my containers, everything I do is on purpose and everything I do is progressive. So I would love to hear how you moved through that very first, that beginning of the progression.
Well, first of all, I think I mentioned this to you early on, that I had felt my body asking to do a cleanse, asking to do a break. And I wasn't feeling motivated to do another one just randomly by myself. So I kind of put it out there to the universe. If somebody wants to like make me do one, and that was before like reconnecting with you. That was before hearing about channel or the dimensional dance even. And then you just like, by the way, we're going to do a cleanse. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's why I'm here. The cleanse that you suggested, which I did, was something different than I've ever done before. So it was a bone broth cleanse. And I tend to eat mostly vegan. I don't call myself vegan. I do eat animal products, and I'll eat meat sometimes. A bone broth cleanse would be pretty far from how I normally consume. And so going to the butcher, getting bones, roasting them, cooking them for 24 hours. And it was a little bit of an adjustment, but I very quickly experienced it to be incredibly nourishing and fulfilling and sustaining. Like my body just melted into it. It was like, yes, thank you, thank you. In fact, even now I'm looking at the date. I'm craving another one and I'm wondering where my next one is. There was something that just really reset me in a very nourishing way. Like the other cleanses I do tend to be a little bit harsh sometimes, and there's kind of more of an edge of being in it and then transitioning out of it. And this one was a much smoother, gentler, easier experience, which held me. And one of the benefits that I got from it was that I was highly addicted to sugar before. And then since doing that cleanse and being in channel, being in this container, there I had a couple moments of strong temptation. The universe was like showing me, it was bringing stuff into my house in en masse. Like, hey, how you doing with that sugar craving now? And by the third one, when I was able to stand like in the face of that temptation and say no, that was my breakthrough. And then for the rest of channel, I just felt like, wow, I'm honoring my container, my channel in a new way. Now all of a sudden, whatever I put in my body, it wasn't so much about health. It was my frequency and it was my channel, actually. Like I never experienced myself like that before.
I love that. And I love that you brought that in, those like we're quoting temptations, right? Because you will always, always, when you're ready to up level, you will get an opportunity to practice it. Most people see that as like a victim, like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Like I just did this great thing and I'm feeling different. And then why is this coming in? It's like it's coming in from you in order to say yes, to be very clear, to say, like, I do choose this. And then you solidify it as your default. You solidify it in your foundation. And I remember after the cleanse, you did say in our community, you were like, the cleanse was worth the investment.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many reasons I bring that in. And one of them is because we will meet ourselves very quickly. And everyone's going to respond to that differently, especially so fast. Like before we even do our first call, we're already doing this, right? And it's like, this is where all of my Aries comes in because I'm like, yeah, we're going to go fast. We're going to go, like, I'm not here to like placate. I'm here to make big transformation pretty quickly, which is different than the Scorpio energy, right? But this is how we complement each other. And this is how we get to have these reflections through everyone that might be blind spots for ourselves.
Hmm.
So, yeah, after that cleanse, though, we did like, I feel like what I remember in the first couple of weeks, it might have been the second week, was when your first big resistance came in. And I remember two big resistance moments for you. I don't know how many you remember, but if you want to speak to either of those or whichever one might even be like coming to the forefront more for you, I would just
Hmm.
love to hear your process through that because I want to normalize this. Oftentimes, when resistance comes in for us with something, we're like, oh, wasn't for me, gonna go that way. Like,
Hmm.
nope. And I remember there was a point where you're like, I don't know if it's for me. So, whatever is alive for you in that, I'd love to hear your share.
So I know one of the two for sure. We're both thinking of the same one. And I'm not sure if my second one that comes up for me is the same one that you're thinking of. So the first one that came up for me, Lori's dad was quite unwell in the very beginning. And I think it was the second call, or maybe even the first call, you came on and you were a little late and you were quite shaken. And I didn't quite know you yet. And I had a bit of a competition energy going on inside of me in like the deep recesses. It wasn't conscious, but because we're around the same age and both from the Midwest of the United States and both like on a spiritual path, and you're Aries and I'm Libra. So I met more of the opposition internally. And it was like I needed you to show up. I needed you to prove that you are worthy of being someone that I would listen to as my mentor. And in that moment, when you came on vulnerable, my ego was like, like she's not there, she's not available. And so some of my wobble in the very beginning was my ego, like I said, not necessarily trusting the space, not necessarily trusting you as a leader, like to hold it. Like, of course, ultimately, that's me not trusting myself. That was like the first big wobble but it wasn't something that made me want to leave. It just made me feel like I need to lead. And then you came in and you gently, or not so gently, directly pointed out to me about, like, I don't remember your language because you're really precise with language, but it was something along the lines of being able to be like held in the space, I think, something like that. Like, which signaled to me, right, I'm trying to take on a leadership role, and that's not why I'm here. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, that's such a moment, right? I remember I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember I was like, "Are you showing up as a teacher or are you showing up as a receiver?"
Mm.
Because I show up in spaces as a teacher and a guide. I show up in other spaces as a receiver, right? And I'm in my beginner's mentality. I'm in my curiosity. I'm like, "Okay, I'm here to absorb and learn and receive from you. Even if sometimes I don't completely agree, there's something here for me, right? So I'm going to relax into this and trust my channel, which gave me that heart yes, even through the wobbles, even through the ebbs and flows. So I know we had an exchange there, and that really allowed you to bring what was subconscious at such a level conscious so you could actually start working with it.
And then the second one was about money. And we're laughing, of course, because sometimes these moments, I mean, these moments when we expose ourselves in our shadow or in our ego, God bless them, they can be so entertaining and they're precious. And we have to like get off the high horse sometimes or whatever the case may be. Lori had mentioned a significant increase in the price of channel, like that was on its way. And I took, what's the word? I took offense to the number that she mentioned, and it bothered me. And I left her a message privately. In some way, I really felt like I was doing her a favor. And And actually, I'm so happy that that message came through because that was definitely one of the biggest opportunities for a shift. Like, what an incredibly powerful shift. So, you took like a beat hearing that message, and then you waited until the time was right for you. And then your response to me was the reflection back about where am I aligning in my energy in relation to scarcity, lack, poverty consciousness, and what does that mean? Like, what does that ripple out? And then it actually, it wound up being like such the flip side to that. You then like launched off into so much of the love language of wealth consciousness and getting wealth into the hands of conscious women. And that is a song that sings in my heart now every day. I feel like my hands are wide open now. And I'm like, yes, 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 yes. In all the programs that I've done on abundance consciousness and money mindset and all this stuff, it never landed in that way like it did when you brought it in that time.
I mean, this was so huge because I'm like, do I want to go there yet? But it was so huge because you were open to sharing what was coming up for you, even when you were in the reaction of it, right? Like, and again, your ego is saying, "Oh, I'm doing her a favor. I'm reactive, and I'm going to tell her exactly why." And because you did that, because you actually opened yourself up to my response, you got a deepening that a lot of people maybe wouldn't have received. And so this is where it's like we so often will kind of shrink ourselves down, or we won't say the thing, or we won't be totally truthful, like externally with what's happening for us internally. And oftentimes we miss an opportunity. Now, I do want to say I could hold it. Not a lot of people could hold that. But because I've done my work, because I absolutely walk my talk, I can hold those places because I see where it's coming from. And I know it's not about me. I know it's never about me. And that's part of this path, right? When you can get so solid in that, this is where we move into what we're knowing as the golden age, the age of Aquarius, where we are so sovereign and we allow others to be so sovereign, and we no longer have the push pull or I'm right, you're wrong. We literally can hold them in their journey wherever they are and trust it. And we can hold a love around it because it's not about us. And that was just the perfect drop in, because it was pretty intense for you. Like, if I can say, you were on that call and you were like, I don't know if this is a space for me. Are you holding me? I don't know. Like, you were really questioning everything about the space because of the number that I shared. And what's extra interesting about this, y'all, is that Erica and I, she said that we met in Elevate, but the reason we met in Elevate is because we were both in a money, like a full, it was called The Vault with Katia Nova. And it's this full money, like abundance transmission, like full weekend. You've got like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 different sessions that you can watch. And when you said that it literally had never landed for you before this, to me, it was like, okay, she really is showing up here. She's really giving her all, even in the hard, even in the challenge. She's still showing up, even when it's like reactive. That's where it's like, do you see how what the difference is? Like, we're watching The Vault, right? We're watching all these amazing calls, but you never got to the shadow in those calls.
And not only that, I mean, I've been in that, I've touched that shadow, but having something about your vibration, your presence, your like that when the shadow is open and you're right there, so magic happens.
Yeah. And that's where, holding somebody, because this is literally my soul's medicine. I came in with a Chiron Kazemi, which means that the wounded healer is in the heart of my son. And once I finally embraced that, I was like, oh, I'm actually here. I can hold people's shadow. I can hold their wounds, and I can hold it in a place of neutrality to get to the other side with them. And that doesn't happen in a lot of spaces, but they have to meet me. They've got to decide to stay. I've had plenty of women that come in and they're like, oh, nope, too much, going back. And that was a big reason I wanted to bring you on, because I want other women to feel what's possible when they stay, when they realize that they can feel it, they can keep feeling it and actually get to the other side instead of recoiling or retracting from that feeling because it's getting bigger and bigger, because you're actually bringing it all the way up. And you brought it all the way up to go out because you stayed in this beautiful journey. So thank you so much for sharing that with others. The last thing that I was saying, oh, do I want to bring this in yet? Is that on our final call, tell everybody what you shared on our final call.
The manifestation of the trip, the puppet, or like a bunch of things.
There was a moment where you said, this program is so worth that number. You were like, there was no hesitation in you, no doubt.
Yeah, actually, I think what I said, and this is my absolute sincere truth, that number that you said that I was originally offended by, for weeks leading up to the end of channel, the more I felt into the bigness of this space and the power and the magic in this space, the more I realized that that number is like that doesn't even do it. That it's way beyond that number. It's more like 8888. This is like what was showing up for me. If even, I don't like this thing of needing to even put a number on it, because really the bigness and the richness, like, you meet people exactly where they're at, and you're so present, and you are so precise with your energy, and you're so precise with what comes through your channel, that it doesn't matter that we were all in very different places in life and moving through different things and very different people energetically, and all of that the expansiveness of the space that you hold contains all of that and all of us. And I feel that each one of us who showed up feels like you were rooting each one of us on personally, like personal cheerleader, not like general, not spreading out your energy and diluting it. That like microdose, I don't know if that's the right, I don't even know about micro, but I'm getting this, I'm getting this visual about a concentrated dose. Is that what a microdose? Is that a concentrated dose?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's like you're a concentrated dose of that potion, of that spark that that really gets into whomever is in front of you at the moment.
I'm taking a moment to receive that. It feels so good. Yeah, I, mm, it's so good. There's a couple more things that I want to talk about before we complete this beautiful transmission. And thank you. And the thing is, like, I feel the same about you, about the way that you are so intentional with your words and your language, and you're so descriptive. It's incredible. And there's something that I haven't shared with you. And I want to get
Mm.
to that. I want to get to that because I'm going to talk about this moment at the end of channel that really just lit me the F up. But before that, I want you to share with people this transition or this transformation you went on from like seeing what you were doing as a business. And oftentimes it can feel like daunting or exhausting, right? It's like, oh, we're coming back and trying to do it this way and trying to do it that way. Because I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to you, even if they're not in their soul business now. As we move more into New Earth, it's going to be like our cells are just begging us. And the more we do things that are out of alignment with us, the more we're going to feel so depressed, overwhelmed, exhausted, all of the things. So you had this shift in you where suddenly it started becoming alive as your soul medicine. And suddenly things started happening in that space for you. So I would love to touch on that a little bit if you're open to it.
Well, first of all, for everyone listening, I had the great honor and pleasure of being the recipient of like a full coaching message, like a coaching call message from you. And I listened to that several times and I transcribed it word for word. And that was a big turning point for me because what came through you in that moment. And it's almost like the symphony. It was like halfway or a little bit, it was around halfway, maybe a little bit over halfway through channel. And it was like, in the symphony that's playing, kind of the music is a little bit more dark in the beginning. And then there's like these tones that start to come in, and then you hear the melody changing into something more expansive and more like light filled. And then I really felt like I started aligning myself with this version of you that you're reflecting back, this version of me that you're reflecting back to me. And I'm not sure, I mean, so I walk two very clear paths. One is the healership, the healer version, and the other is the artist and the creative. And I haven't made much room for the creative and the artist, although it's been begging for my attention, and it lights me up and it brings me so much joy, and it's a vision that won't leave me. And so one of the things that happened in channel is that I said yes to doing an open mic event at a friend's apartment in Tel Aviv. And then I prepared for it and then I did it. And it was such a victory for me that just, it opened up more doors and more opportunities and more inspiration and more creativity and more yeses for me to make space for that side of me. And in that energy, I'm the most alive and I'm the most yes and the most excited and turned on. And I guess, in some way doing my service. And
Yeah.
then there's this other part, which for so many years I've been putting my hands on people or sending energy or listening and reflecting back and being in the role of a guide or a healer here and there. And people respond favorably. And yet I had been so riddled with limiting thoughts and insecurities and everything, all of that just deflected. So anytime that someone would sort of compliment me or have a beautiful experience in my space, that wall of limiting beliefs would deflect it. And it was hard for it to actually, it wouldn't really fully come in. wouldn't really fully affect me. And I would continue to walk with that feeling like, oh, there's a million. It was the comparison game, right? There's a million others who would do it better or who this or who that. And what am I? And a lack of worth, of all of that stuff. All of that got super rearranged here in channel. Like, I can't even tell you the amount of rearranging that took place on a deep cellular level. I'm completely and totally not the same person anymore. I mean, I set that as a very strong intention. I felt that the minute that I said yes, the minute I said yes, even before I sent you the money, I already felt my whole being starting to rearrange. And I already felt like, okay, I'm going in a portal right now, which is going to be intense. And it was a wild ride. I knew that I was going to pop out the other end as a version of myself totally different. And that's absolutely true. And I want to just share something that I didn't tell you. Last week, I said yes to an opportunity to volunteer going to the border with Lebanon and doing sessions with soldiers sitting at the border
Wow.
as a part of a team of 35 other practitioners and therapists and healers. Now, before Channel, I would never, ever, I would never dare to see myself in that light and say yes to such a thing because I didn't see myself in that way. Like, oh, other people will do it better. But having come through Channel, it was like, yep, I have a place there too. Yep, I have something to give. Yep, like my energy is also valued and worthy and needed. And I said yes, and I went.
That is powerful. I want to highlight this because it's not the big, like I said in the beginning, the big end result. It's literally the becoming. And we start showing up from that place of soul alignment and that place of soul remembrance and self love, like deep, deep places of self love. And then we start saying yes to things instead of needing some, like having an expectation about it in order to happen. And every time we say yes, the energy opens more, the field opens more, and there's more opportunities. And for you, I'm holding the microphone because this moment was everything. We have a community share in channel. And one of the last shares of Erica was a video, and it was a puppet performance. And that was everything. Like when you started talking about your artistry, I have messages. I get messages all the time, but I don't tell people unless they invite them in, right? And so of course I didn't tell you this because it's your journey to go on. But once I saw that puppet performance that you offered us, I was like, this is so freaking alive for her. Like this is it's it. You know what I mean? Like this is it. And I felt like if I could show a result of channel, it would be that puppet performance. And if I could, if I really wanted to like put an exclamation point on it, I would take people back to one of your first videos or voice memos where you were crying about your business and about how it felt so bleak and how it felt so overwhelming and how you just didn't know how to like get beyond this. You didn't know how to change it. And if I could take them into the energy of that performance, I was in tears watching that. It was so beautiful. It was so everything. Because if we're not living that truth, the truth of your artistry that came through in that, what are we doing? After this nice mic drop pause moment, share with everybody what you are creating in that space.
So I've had this vision for years of being on stage, kind of a stage, I suppose, stage, and doing like an hour long. So I said it in the Telegram chat that it's like an interactive TED Talk on acid. So I like create like different audio visual pieces. And sound sandwiches. I have kind of a fetish for collecting sounds and then layering them and doing like sound journeys and having this puppet see a segment of it. And as channel was ending, I kind of received more of the structure of what this evening will be. And it's something that I've been trying to do for the time of my birthday, which is in late October, for years. And it's come together little tiny pieces, but it hasn't really come together at all. But I keep walking with that vision. And this puppet has always been a part of that vision, and she wasn't coming together either. And then towards the end of Channel, I met with this puppeteer lady, and I've been meeting with her on and off for the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, she just walks, gets up, goes in the other room, brings back some little thingy, and did 40 minutes later, like this puppet is alive. It's just right there. And so that's part of this evening with Erica. Um, Interactive, transformative, inspiring. Yeah, there's a lot there. And yeah, so is that what you were referring to?
Heck yes, that's what I'm
Oh,
referring to. I want to be at this evening with Erica. Like this I feel it like coming from your cells. I feel it living in your body. And it's what you didn't share about the puppeteer thing is that something happened with your channel before this. So take people there because I really want them to feel, I don't want them to feel the end result. I want them to feel what happens when you listen to your channel instead of go with like how life looks like it's showing up for you.
I'm not sure like that I was able to be more clear with her. No.
So the first time Erica met with the puppeteer said, "Oh, go and do it this way. Finish the
Ah, yes.
story."
Yeah. So she wanted me to make it. And so I was kind of like fidgeting with trying to put it together, and it just wasn't coming together. And ultimately, it was coming into channel that I realized that's not what I do. That's not who I am. That's not where my strengths are. I'm not so crafty with my hands. So I could just claim that and ask for what I wanted, which was just for her to make it, which I had not really come out and said like that in all the years that I was meeting with her.
Yeah, this is huge because once you claimed that channel and you were like, "Wait a second," because so many of us, especially in scarcity, this is what we'll do. We'll be like, "Okay, I can do everything," because there's just not enough. And it's going to be like, I'm going to have to pay a certain amount. I don't have that. But we create all the stories and all the blocks. And for you, because you were so deep in your channel, you heard her when I say her, it's you. You heard yourself say, wait a second, this isn't my skill set. I feel the resistance here and I don't want to do this. Like, I'm going to be doing the puppet. Like, I'm going to be doing the art. And it's like, this is somebody else's skill set. This is how New Earth works. When we
Mm.
really follow that, and then you went to her a second time, and then you shared fourth time. Okay. By the time you got there and you shared what was truly in alignment for you, guess what? It happened in 40 minutes. And I don't even know if there was any money exchanged. There was no money exchanged. Y'all, this is so freaking important. This is a mic drop moment because the more that we take resistance as information and guidance instead of doubling down and control, right? Forcing something. This is where the whole manifestation of our lives comes in. But the thing with manifestation that so many people miss is the inspired action, the courageous action. And that's what you did. You went back, even though she was like, go do it yourself. I'll give you some tips. You went back and you're like, no, you know what? This is your skill set. This is what you're good at. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to try. I'm going to see. And even if she doesn't do it, she might know somebody else or she might know somebody else. Like we've got to let go of the how and trust the how to arrange itself. When we are so clear, we are so aligned, we are so confident in what's true for us, there's always a way. And I remember saying this so many times in channel, like there's thousands of ways this can show up. This can happen. And because you guys, like so many times you're like, I don't see it this way. It's not happening this way. So now I give up or I'm not doing it. So,
I came away from channel with a long and almost inexhaustible list of these catchphrases like, well, notice arguing for your limitations and keep your field open and your nervous system soft and like all these things. So now I'm walking and it's almost like I'm clay. And when I start to get out of like form, like I'm in my nice form that it feels good. And when I start to kind of blob out in one way, some catchphrase from Channel and Lori comes in and it's like, whoop, push that back in there again. And like,
I love it. And the other women loved it too. You were such a beautiful support for the other women, as everybody was for each other. That's the whole. I was so clear that this is a channeled experience. This is a group experience. I don't have some big agenda. And I would oftentimes flow and follow what was really coming up for the whole group, or even one person. One person would be the leader by being courageous and sharing that vulnerability, sharing what most of us keep inside. It's our internal dialogue and we don't let it out. But once you let it out, that's where it actually can be worked with. That's where it's like, okay, now we can move this because energy wants to move. It doesn't want to be constricted and stagnant within. And, it's being in these group containers, it's so important. As you said, you're in Israel, right? And it's very different there, but yet you got to connect with us who aren't there in a very known way, right? We could find that commonality and we could offer the differences and share the different experiences, which allowed all of us to grow in beautiful ways. So these online containers and spaces are so important for that reason. It's important that we use technology in its highest good, and that's where this is.
totally.
Erica, the last question that I have for you, and because we didn't talk about this, from what I gather, because nobody else shared about this, from what I gather, you're the only one that did the full 7-day wake and activate.
Really, I'm so sorry for the others because I even woke up this morning and I was like, I think I'm going to do another 7 days. I loved that so much.
Yeah, did you feel yourself craving it?
Yeah, really. This morning I was like, I think I'm really going to start, I'm just going to do another 7 days. It's
Yeah.
so good. And I have a morning practice that I love that lights me up. And it's good to like break it up and shake it up and do it different. And you brought things that I don't normally do. Like some of the things were similar, but most of what you brought was different than what I do and felt so good. And yeah.
That's what I love about the 7-day wake and activate is that it is very multifaceted. Like I bring in so many different things. Like it's not just a yoga practice. It's not just a breath practice. It was just, and it was channeled as I did it, but sometimes it would be EFT. Sometimes it would be a little bit of mentorship. Sometimes it would be yoga, movement. Sometimes it would be certain poses, right? Like, and that's where I feel like this is kind of one of my signature moves. Both of these, the cleanse and the 7-day wake and activate, those are my signature moves that really create that space of embodiment to land it in your cells. So, did you feel really supported with that being at the end?
Completely and totally. Yeah, it was so, so, so perfect. It felt like a big home, like a homecoming or a culmination. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank
Yes.
you. We hadn't talked about it. So, I was like, I'm going to ask her about that on the pod.
Yeah.
So, what's next for you, Erica? We know that the Erica One Woman Show is coming. Like, I see big things for this, for artist Erica, creative Erica. Like, this is where I'm like, Erica, show up, do the one show. I don't care if one or two people are there. Show up and do it, refine, get better, show up again, show up again. This show is going to be a living and breathing entity. And I see it getting very, very big. And so I hope that you like feel that and you keep that momentum going. But just share with everyone what is on the horizon for you now. Where are we going in this next spiral?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am taking steps regularly to building that show, which is supposed to be on October 18th. I already sent out the invite list to my friends and I'm feeling out locations for it. And what's interesting is that until now, that was never like a worthy pursuit. And the logical mind was like, you're not going to make a living at that. And now I've kind of banished those thoughts and I'm not letting them lead me anymore. However, I did mention to you, Lori, that my next step is manifesting you as my mentor because I can't tell you how much I would love your continued support and like moving through these next hurdles. Even just now and like I feel so lucky right now to be on the receiving end of this energy that you're bringing and these reflections and the support and encouragement. Drinking that in and want more and more. And like, I want to savor that and keep that in me and keep that alive. And at the same time, I'm also taking steps to offer my healership and allowing it to be unstructured because that was part of my challenge up until now was needing to like call it something specific or frame it in a certain way, but it didn't want that. It wasn't containable in that way. And so I've put it out there and I've had some response so far, which I'm like just allowing it to sprout. It's in its natural divine way.
Yes, I love that. I think at one point in channel, one of the voice transmissions that I shared was like, yo, I didn't even know how to tell people what I did for 2 years. I just did it. I just kept showing up and kept doing it. And I let that like show up for me through my channel.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, I'm at coming.home on Instagram. That's about it. Oh, and Erica Celeste on Facebook, but I'm hardly ever on Facebook.
Okay, you're more of an IG mama. Okay. Well, I'm going to have those links below and I'm hoping that we're going to close in a certain way, in a big shebang.
Mm.
We'll see how Erica responds right now. I would love it if you would sing the chorus of the jazz song that you shared in the open mic.
Ooh. Ooh. So the chorus,
Or it can be a verse, whatever feels good.
yeah, I mean, just the chorus is really kind of just one line. Peel me a grape. Peel me. Oh.
I love it. I love it. I love that you just said yes to that. You know that there was a reasons behind that as well, right?
I'm sure. Um,
It's really
don't know.
beautiful. Your
Thank you.
voice, it holds the codes, babe.
Mm.
And I wanted others to feel that through your artistry, through your singing, through your love, because you love singing so much. You're such a gorgeous, gorgeous soul. And I feel really honored to be walking this path with you, soul to soul, heart to heart. And I'm excited for what's to come.
And I'm excited for all of the sisters and brothers and who receive your medicine and who receive that up leveling and sprout their wings in your mothership and take flight and send out those ripples into the collective stream, kind of taking off from the launch pad of Lori Rising and
Aw,
sending out that ripple.
that's
Really excited for all the people that are going to meet and feel and experience your presence.
thank you so much. Thank you. I love you, Erica. Thank you for saying yes and for sharing your heart with so many out there, for showing them what's possible when they really go all in on them. Because you did, you went all in on you through all of the ripples, through all of the waves, through all the ebbs, through all of the flows. And you're living it now, right? The reality is manifesting. And that's what we really got to allow the evolution of ourselves to become. You're a beautiful guide, Erica. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
All right, y'all. Until next time, don't forget to keep looking up.